Hey, good evening everybody. Sammy Thunder here. Welcome back to the channel. I wanted to kind of go through a video tonight that discusses 4 different years of vintage baseball cards in terms of how SGC might grade them. I'm going to be going through the experiences that I've had with them in hopes of maybe being able to provide some insight. You might disagree, you might agree. I hope that we can have a discussion in the comments further about this, but I'll give you my experiences and how I interpreted these years. I'm going to start with 1970. 1970, there are a lot of big names, great year of cards, and to my surprise, the price value of a lot of these cards are not really that far-fetched. Granted, Nolan Ryan is an expensive card because he's a high number. So I'm going to start with a reasonable card you can get for 20, 30 bucks, which is the Tom Seaver. Now at first glance, when I bought this raw, I did not think that this card would end up getting the grade that it did as a 7.5. I was quite surprised by that. And it got me thinking, if this Tom Seaver can get a 7.5, I wonder what some other crisp Hall of Fame cards that I have could get. And so then, it dawned on me that Clemente, big names like Mays and Aaron, these cards could potentially fetch big money if they grade really, really high. Not that that's my end goal, but curiosity got the better of me. And so I'm thinking that 1970 cards are definitely worth looking into, given that I think SGC takes a looser perspective on that year. So I don't know if y'all share the same opinion, but I think it's definitely worth looking into. So that's one of the years that I think is definitely worth giving a second look. The other year in particular that I think is worth looking into are the 1971, the year after. SGC gives such a break on the 71s. And what I mean by that is any other year, you look at this Nolan Ryan, it looks great, but you see the corners and you see the edges. The black borders really expose the condition issues. And I feel like SGC acknowledges and recognizes that enough to be able to adjust the grading scale to be a little more fair because of how challenging and how difficult it is to get these cards without any condition exposure. And so to get this in a 4.5, I was really surprised because of the wear and tear on this card. If you look at other years and you see condition issues like that, it may not be granted a 4.5 or a 5. But I feel like in 71s, they're a lot more easygoing. And so here is a Seaver. There's some condition exposure. This one's a little better than the Nolan Ryan, and this one received a 6. Excellent to near mint. Ultimately, if you have 71s lying around that are pretty favorable, have minor wear and tear, but there's a little bit of exposure there, I think it's worth sending it in. Now, key thing about the 71s is because of that black border, it's very, very important to check to make sure that nobody took a black Sharpie and marked over the card. It's happened before. So if you're buying raw cards from 71, just be on the lookout for that. Use a loop, or I've used my phone, which has apps that you can zoom in on cards and get a really good look at them. So that's the only downside about those 71s, is that you will find that some people have taken Sharpies and tried to secretly cover up the condition issues. SGC sees right through that. But other than that, favorable year to send in. Highly recommend it. Now, one of the years that I find very, very tricky, and I've learned the hard way over the years, is the 1957 Topps. 57 Topps, from my understanding, is the first year where they went with the traditional measurements that we see in a lot of the later years of vintage. And what I've discovered is that 57s are scrutinized in every single way, from centering to corners to surface, and there's very little leeway. Here's an example, a Brooks Robinson 57 that has really good centering, but some corner issues and maybe some edge wear to go along with it. And it received a 3 from SGC. A very good, positive, promising 3. The other card that I have is one that I sent in, is the Frank Robinson. Very similar, good centering. Really tough to find this card with good centering, by the way. It received a 3.5. Now granted, there's some surface issues on this one as well, which I won't really go too far into, but I think it's safe to say that 57s are very, very difficult to get a really high grade in. And I think you might find that it'll be very challenging to send in 57s with hopes of getting past a 6. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I'm saying it's very, very difficult. And you need to have a pristine card with great centering and very good surface and corner conditions. I think 57s are scrutinized heavily. I would definitely love to hear what y'all have to say about it, so definitely leave some comments in the comments below and let me know what you think. And if there are some other years that you think are also scrutinized or also very easygoing when it comes to sending to SGC, let me know, because I would love to look through my own collection to see what other years to evaluate. But things to look forward to. I'm potentially going to be going to a show tomorrow, and definitely counting down the days till the National, which is coming up at the end of July, so a lot to look forward to there. But it's good to be back with y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you soon. Take care.